So hey guys, this is my face. Nice to meet you. I want to make a little update on my ecospheres today. It's been 2 weeks since I sealed the big one. Bad lighting. Even worse lighting. Let's just look at these. You've seen enough of me. Alright, so it's been about 2 weeks since I sealed this guy, which means it's been almost 3 weeks since this one was sealed. And this one, I mean, was sealed more or less at the same time as this one, but I mean, I opened it once or twice afterwards, but again, more or less 3 weeks. And as you can see, this one is way darker. So, you know, this one and this one, about the same time sealed, but this one much darker. And also, you know, this one hasn't started to go dark like that either. And I mean, it's only 1 week's difference. So why would this one be darker than the other two? Let's take a look. Okay, so here we are, guys. Let's get these two side by side so you can really see the difference. See how like cloudy this one is? I think actually in person it's a little bit worse. I mean, maybe the kind of the white background is just making it look a little clearer than it actually is. But yeah, it's not too cloudy you can still kind of see what's going on there, but I'm like a little bit disappointed because this one's actually probably the most interesting jar at the moment, but you know, obviously the hardest to see. So again, why is this one clear and this one dirty? I have a few theories, couldn't be entirely sure, but the most obvious thing is this jar has so much more life in it. So there is like I think I said in the first video on this jar, which was my first video, there was like, I think I said like 4 or 5 shrimp, and they like to hide a lot. Now at the moment they are hiding again, unfortunately, but there's like at least 20 shrimp in here, but probably more actually, and they do swim around quite a lot. I'm sure if I rotate the jar you'll see some. I don't want to like shake it up and disturb them or anything, but they do swim around quite a lot, and some of them are quite big and some of them are quite small. It's, you know, it's clear that they've reproduced inside of this jar. I'll get some clips of them later anyway, even if you don't see any now. Oh, here's one right here. Oh, I see him there. But yeah, there's absolutely tons of them in here, and tons of snails as well. But again, I didn't realize until I made a little video earlier, which I'm not going to use, but I looked, and these tiny little dots here, again, I'll go in closer later. These are definitely baby snails, I'm quite sure. So they've obviously been reproducing as well, which is really, really cool. Oh, you can see another shrimp. So I would imagine that all that life going on in there, you know, they got plenty to eat since they're reproducing, and there's more and more of them, and they're not dying. Haven't seen any dead shrimp since the first couple of days. You know, so they're doing great, but obviously they're producing waste, right? Now the waste is good for the plants. It's, you know, fertilizes them, gives them something to keep growing, and then allows the animals to have more food. And that's, you know, basically the circle of life in a very simple form. But obviously there's too much waste. Not enough plant life is what I'm imagining. I don't know for sure, but I would imagine that's affecting the quality of the water. So, and that's where, you know, in your fish tank or what have you, that's where your filter comes in and cleans out the water. Now, if you look at the jar on the left here, the water is clearly a lot clearer. You can see through it more, it's better. There's a lot less living in here. There are some shrimp. One of them is hiding on the side at the moment. Here it is. It's right down here. In fact, I'll even zoom in for you now. Oops, get this new tripod figured out. Okay, sorry about that. Here he is. So I think there's only 2 or 3 of them in this jar. Hopefully enough of them to reproduce, but I'm not sure. zoom back out. Oops, again, sorry. Okay, yeah. So, what was I saying? Yeah, so there's shrimp in here, but only 2 or 3 of them. Snails in here, but again, the same. There's, can't see any at the moment, but there are, you know, a good maybe 4 snails. Haven't really counted, but just as a guess. Again, can't see any at the moment, unfortunately. But yeah, there are certainly things living in here, but not nearly as much as in this jar. So they're not producing as many, as much bacteria, or is it nitrates or something? I don't know. I'm not a scientist. So yeah, and also because there's not as many snails, and there's this and the big one back there. I'll talk more about that one in a minute. The snails are constantly all over the glass, cleaning all the algae off, eating it up. Whereas on this one, there are just not enough snails to keep up with it, so the algae is actually growing on the inside of the glass. Yeah. Got some pretty bad glare from the sunlight there, but you get the idea anyway. So, so yeah, I would imagine that is why, but also there's more differences between these two. This jar had a lot less of the dirt and the sand and stuff like that from the bottom of the river. This is mainly gravel, just from my garden, so not as much. As you can see here, the big layer of sand and dirt, it's all compact, and obviously that settles. So I don't think that's in the water making it cloudy or anything, because that settled down, it was all clear before. But I would imagine within that sand and that dirt, there were bacteria from the river. There were small creatures living in there, and particularly ones that I've actually physically seen. There were these worms. Okay, these worms came out of there at some point, like a week in, maybe 2 weeks in, and they were all, you could see them at first, like at the surface, just poking out of the dirt, and they were waving, just like wiggling around, waving up into the water, like there was like a current brushing them, but obviously there was no current unless they were creating it. They were doing that constantly all day, and eventually this kind of, it was almost like a web, like a spider's web, kind of formed over them, and then it looked almost like a mist as well, like, you know, a cross between a web and a mist, kind of formed above them, and it got like larger and larger, like further away from them, and higher and bigger. And then after a while it just kind of disappeared, and that is around the same time that the water started to get really kind of dirty. And now I don't know if I just couldn't see it anymore because of the clarity of the water, or if that actually had an effect on the water and made it like this. I'm not sure. But those worms now seem, I'm assuming they're the same worms, seem to be on the side of the glass. There's one right here. I'll get some close-ups later. There's actually loads and loads of them in there, which again, that's more living things, presumably producing waste. You know, probably could add to that overall. So another thing about this jar, guys, I mean, obviously this is the cloudy one. Obviously, you know, snails keep all of the sides clean, but up here, you see all of this, like, algae buildup? It's, yeah, it's all around the edge here. It's not so much on the other side. But I think that's, I mean, maybe it's too high for the snails to reach. Well, there's kind of a lip here too. Maybe it just kind of clings on there better, and they can't really get to it quite as well. I think it's like half out of the water. It's kind of hard to tell because it's on the like lip of the jar there. But yeah, that's interesting. Obviously, not really any signs of that. And this one, again, I'm kind of assuming that's because there's just less for the algae and stuff to eat, because there's less waste from things living in here. So it's like they'll grow a lot slower. You can see though, there's a lot growing all over the grass. Come on, focus through the glass, please. There you go. The dead grass. And I think this grass, by the way, is just like it literally is just grass. It's not any type of special aquatic grass. Aquatic. So again, there's plenty in this jar and in this one too. And if you look in the top, you can see there's quite a little forest canopy going on there. The plants have come up above the water. They get quite a lot of sunlight. I tried to keep, it is just like quite sunny in this room, as you can see. There's like a ceiling light, and I got these closed at the moment, but that's all glass. Gets quite warm in here. I try and keep these things out of direct sunlight, because obviously they're glass jars. It's practically a greenhouse in there. I mean, obviously the water keeps it a little bit cooler, but you know, if you leave these things in direct sunlight, they will probably get really quite warm. I would imagine that's not great for all the things living in there. But yeah, I guess that's about it with these. Now, the thing about this jar, there's so much going on in there, but because it's kind of cloudy like that, like it's not great to look at anymore. You can't really see, like, look at all these snails. Look at that. And this I need to clean the outside of the glass, but it looks good as well. But and there's tons and tons of these shrimp. But you just don't. Is that a water spider? Yep. Just tons of life going on. But you can't really see a lot of it because it's cloudy like this, and I don't know. Like, obviously the whole idea of this is to keep the jars sealed and just see if it can sustain life. So I guess I will just keep it closed, but I'm really quite tempted to open this one up and just, I don't know, maybe try and clean it up a bit, or I don't think I should, but I'm tempted to, so that might happen in the future here. Other than that, the plants, I'm trying to remember everything I talked about last time. You can see the roots have grown a fair amount. They kind of getting a little glare now. Yeah, they haven't grown all the way down to the bottom. I mean, one of them has, yeah. And yeah, I mean, other than that, life's just ticking along. I mean, it hasn't been that long since the last video. It's 2 weeks. But yeah, definitely interesting, and definitely up to this point sustaining the life in there very well. We'll see how long that lasts. Oh, and also this right here was the kind of stone that was floating. It sank in this jar, which is strange because in this jar it has not, although you can see it is just dipping below the surface at the moment. But I guess this one just saturated with water, which, I mean, kind of answers the question of how I got them from the river, because they do seem to sink eventually. But yeah, this one, I mean, that's been floating there for 3 weeks. That's not bad. Maybe it'll sink eventually. I'll keep an eye on it. Okay, now guys, the main event, the big jar. It's doing great. Oh, okay, this is the first time I've noticed this, but there is a fly up on top. I guess it's come from some kind of larvae in the water, but look at that. That's really cool. I feel bad for it, but it might survive in there, right? I mean, will it have anything to eat? I don't know. In some of the other ecospheres I've seen on YouTube, there's been like those tiny little flies in there. I'm not sure what this is. Lost it. It is. Yeah, it is actually. It's quite small, but I don't know if it's going to get bigger. Yeah, well, we'll see how he does in there. Yeah, you know, all these jars are different. All of them are different. this one full of shrimp. This one not all that much living in it. Plants are there, it's quite clear. This one full of different creatures, but really not that many shrimp. In fact, I'm not even sure if there's any left in there. And as you can see, 2 weeks into this jar, the things that I'm still assuming to be leeches, living absolutely fine. These snails are growing quite fast. I don't know what type of snails they are. They're flat. This one sticks to the glass. The other one, he's over there. I have to rotate it. Oops. Oh, lost him. There he is. Yes, there's 2 of those in here. Now, the reason I believe there's little or no shrimp in here is because of things like this guy. This, can I point at it? This thing here is not part of the stick. That's, I think I showed it in the first video of this jar. It's some kind of, I don't know what, I was assuming like a larvae or something, but I don't know, maybe it's like its whole life cycle is some water bug thing that builds this kind of case around itself. It's really strange, and it has expanded it a bit on the front now. It has, like you can see, it's kind of a difficult point in the jar. You can just about make out his legs, like gripping his front legs, and the front of his mouth, I think, at the top there, but gripping onto the stick. But yeah, the front of it is now made up of kind of green plant material, and what I believe to be, you see like right there on the tip sticking out, I think that is this stuff from the rock. This stuff there. Whatever that is, that plant. Yeah, it's like, I mean, it's growing, but it also seemed to have died off a little bit, but I don't know if that's normal. Maybe you can see here it's detaching from the rock a bit. Wait, see there? I'm not sure if that's normal or if that's bad. What else can we see in here? The duckweed has absolutely gone crazy, covers the whole thing. And then this thing, I'm going to show you some older clips of this because I did upload a video, but I ended up deleting it because it was a copyright claim on some music, and then it was only like a couple of days after I'd finished this jar. But yeah, this guy, again, I'll edit in the clips, but it's a very, very weird looking little creature. I have no idea what it is. What else? There's also there was one big mayfly larvae in there, which I'm assuming they look. This one was really big, and it looks like they are the type of thing that might eat those shrimp, because there were shrimp in here, and now I don't see them anymore. But yeah, the big one died. I was worried it was gonna because mayflies I think are quite big, and it was a big larvae. And obviously I was worried it was gonna be trapped on top of the jar, and I was thinking about, should I open it, whatever. But yeah, it died like a day after I recorded the video, which I didn't upload, so you guys obviously haven't seen it. But yeah, this is another one. There's, like, you can tell this is definitely a different one because it's a lot smaller. I guess it's just grown in here. I've never seen it before until today, but it has the kind of you can tell it's a mayfly larvae because it has this quite distinctive like forked tail. But yeah, I mean, I think between that and whatever the hell the thing is that tries to disguise itself as a stick, I would imagine they're eating something because they're getting bigger. But you know, there's plenty of snails still in here. The leeches haven't gone anywhere. There's all these weird little worms. These are the things I was talking about in the other jar. So hopefully this one doesn't get all cloudy. This is quite weird actually. It's built got a little like mound actually, and there's more of them. No, I really hope they don't do what they did in the other jar, but I mean, I think I started to see signs of the other jar going cloudy, like 2 weeks in, and this jar's been closed for 2 weeks now, so we might be okay. But yeah, really weird. But yeah, so there's still plenty of those. Basically, everything is still in there except for the shrimp. So, I mean, that I can tell. So I think oh, and here we go. There's another dead larvae by the looks of it. Am I looking at it? Yeah, right there. So I mean, that's not fun. But more worms. There's tons of these worms. They just do that all day long. And in the other jar, they were all in one spot, and they started to form this weird cloud over them. And then I already went over the rest. But yeah, just no shrimp. I think I'll keep looking here because there probably is still at least 1 or 2 shrimp in here. There weren't that many to begin with, and they do actually hide really well. But yeah, I'm under the impression that something that eats them is in this jar. What do we have there? That looks like maybe. Well, that could be I don't think this is a dead shrimp. I think it's a skin. Yeah, that's a skin. It's when when they die, they kind of turn orange. So that's a good sign. One of them shed a skin at some point. Like yeah, obviously there's quite a few places to hide in this jar. But I have not seen a single shrimp in a long time, so I'm a little worried. I mean, not worried. I guess it doesn't matter. There's plenty of them in the other jar, but they seem to be the most interesting one because they swim around the most. But yeah, I mean that's about it on this jar. You can see the plants are growing out pretty good. Okay, guys. So apparently this guy, the weird bug thing with the the homemade shell that looks a bit like a stick. Apparently that's a caddisfly. A caddisfly larvae. And it says on Wikipedia that they can live they live for a very short time as a fly, but they can live several years as a larvae like this in the water. So that's a very weird thing, and they're one of like the few creatures that they're able to build their own shell, which is, I mean, interesting. It's freaky. Let's see what else it says here on Wikipedia. Group of insects with aquatic larvae, terrestrial adults. The larvae construct a portable casing to protect themselves as they move around looking for food. The aquatic larvae are found in a wide variety of habitats such as streams, rivers, lakes, ponds, spring seeps, temporary water pools, and temporary water pools. The larvae of many species use silk to make protective cases, which are often strengthened with gravel, sand, twigs, bitten off pieces of plants, or other debris. The larvae exhibit various feeding strategies, with different species being predators, leaf shredders, algal grazers, or collectors of particles from the water column. One of these snails. These are a little more interesting just because there's, a lot fewer of them. absolutely tons of those other snails. You can see these snails almost have like a transparent shell. You can kind of see what's going on inside of there. It's quite interesting. Alright, that's it for today's video, guys. This is really interesting to me. I hope you guys are finding it interesting too. I'd love to see how the creatures inside of the jars sustain themselves, and how long they will be able to sustain themselves and carry on, and the cycle of let's say the shrimp they eat, the snails they eat, they produce waste, plants use the waste, they're able to grow bigger, everything kind of, there's a circle of life in there. For now it's sustainable, and that's interesting, and I guess the real experiment to see how long it can sustain itself in there. So I'll continue to make updates. You guys can see how it's going, and hopefully they survive for a long time and the water quality doesn't get too bad, so I can't film anything in there. But thanks for watching.